Jonreal Casimero has aired his frustration over the most recent purse bid of his next title defense. Casimero will put his WBO bantamweight title on the line against Paul Butler on December 11. Casimero is expected to get 75% of the 105,000 purse bid won by Probellum, which was established most recently by Richard Schaefer. The promotion won the purse bid by only adding $5,000 to the WBO's required minimum amount of $100,000. Ryan, let's talk about Probellum first. Why do you think Schaefer did not go beyond $105,000 for this fight, considering that Casimero is a fighter not that difficult to promote because of his style in the ring as well as his colorful personality?
I mean, it's the same reason why when we go to the store and there's the price tag for an apple is $1, we don't give $1.50, right? Because we can get away with just give them $1. There wasn't a huge demand for this fight. I don't think that people were saying, "Oh, we need to get that Casimero versus Butler fight." If you can get that fight in the cheap and there's not a lot of competition, that's what I figured they thought. And also Probellum, they're jumping right into the business. They're a new company. I know Richard Schaefer has a long time of experience in the sport, but they're establishing themselves. They won a purse bid like within weeks of being established, and I figure that's what they were thinking.
Ryan, Casimero reportedly got a six-figure payday from the Guillermo Rigondo fight last August. For this bout against Butler, he will only get a little over $78,000. What's confusing on the part of Casimero is the fact that MP Promotions, TGB Promotions, the promotions that the management that represents him, and even MTK Global did not make a bid for this one. What does this say when it comes to the value of Casimero as a fighter? And do you think the lackluster fight against Rigondo has a lot to do with that? Or is it simply because of Paul Butler?
I don't think it helped. I don't think the Rigondo fight helped because a lot of people, like, there's a sort of double standard. It's like, oh, well, we expect Rigondo to be kind of a boring fighter. It's Casimero's fault. You know what I mean? But it's also kind of like a boxing hipster mentality. It's like, what Rigondo is doing is genius. I'm like, we call genius, I call boring, right? So Casimero kind of got a lot of that heat, even though almost nobody looks good against Rigondo. And when Rigondo doesn't want to look good, no one looks good. But I think that, that is kind of a problem unless, because we don't know what Probellum's relationship will be with Premier Boxing Champions. Mm-hmm. We don't know yet because we've seen a lot of different companies work with PBC as sort of like the promoter of record, and then PBC is really running the show behind the scenes. So MP Promotions has a relationship with PBC. So does Tom Brown. So in the past we had seen Richard Schaefer work in behind the scenes when he was still dealing with the fallout of him leaving Golden Boy. He wasn't able to work on the front end, but he had relationships with different boxers that they did business with. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Probellum does, who they work with. It does seem like they've been working with different promoters, but will they kind of fall into the orbit of PBC? That would help me understand better why MP Promotions and TGB didn't make bids.
Ryan, right now with what Jonreal Casimero established with his Angas ng Pinas persona, he gained a huge following of that. We cannot deny it anymore, especially on social media. Some would say it's not their cup of tea, but some would say it's time for Philippine boxing to have a boxer who doesn't come from the same mold of a typical Filipino boxer. You know what I mean? Now, from a business standpoint, with the clout that Casimero has at the moment, that's good investment. But do you think that's not enough at least to give Casimero another piece of the pie?
I think it helps him. I think it helps him definitely because he's kind of broken out of that clone like model, that really. And people say, oh well, Filipino boxing fans they like their fighters to be a certain way. I mean, yeah, that's cool, but if you're not like buying tickets and and not making the guy money, what does it matter? So like, Casimero is figuring, hey, I need to appeal to the broadest, um, possible fan base, and that means making some noise. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I think he's doing the right things, but at the same time, he is a bantamweight, and it makes it harder to get your name out there because at a certain point, like, there's first off, you're not going to find American fighters really at bantamweight, so that you can't really, it's going to be harder to cross over. Casimero has always been a road warrior, and I think that's sort of the way his career will continue to go. And part of that is, you cash your checks where you can.
Ryan, let's look for the silver lining here. Probellum won the first bid. Do you think it will be much easier for Casimero to land a fight with Donaire because Donaire has a working relationship with Richard Schaefer?
I think he's had one for a long time. I think that it certainly helps his cause. I think that it signals at least something that they want to work together because Probellum, Richard Schaefer has had a relationship with Donaire for a long time. Like he was in 2017, Donaire had signed with Ringstar, which was the company that Richard Schaefer has, and yeah, so like I think that signals something. But I think at the end of the day, what will make that happen is business. If Donaire can't get a rematch with Inoue, all of a sudden Casimero is looking pretty good.